Welcome to Grant's Rock Warehouse and to another Warehouse interview. Tonight, I'd like to welcome Ken Murdoch to the show. He's an Australian musician, singer, songwriter, guitarist, keyboardist. He's best known as the founder and primary creative force behind the 1970s rock band Taste. Ashley's here as well. We're going to talk a little music, do a little interview. We're just going to hang out here in the warehouse a while. Welcome, Ken Murdoch. Let's get started.
Grant is trying to change the world one track at a time. Grant's Rock Warehouse is keeping it real in the field.
Welcome to Grant's Rock Warehouse and to a warehouse interview. Or you might say, is it really an interview? It's more like a discussion. It's just us hanging out talking to Ken Murdoch from the band Taste. Now, if anybody remembers, Ashley was a guest on the show. Ashley comes on the show. We've done various shows with Ashley. We do a show called Little Known Bands That You Need to Know. And Ashley featured Taste on one of the shows, just trying to turn people onto them. People loved all of his picks. Now, when we played the Taste tracks, Ashley, do you remember what tracks we played?
Yes, we played Same Old Story from Tickle Your Fancy, and we played Witch's Brew from Nights of Love.
All right. I'm not trying to blow smoke up your ass, Ken. I am being quite honest, but we played your stuff and people were blown away. A lot of the takes that I remember from that show, and Ashley, you could back me up what you remember, people could not understand why you never took off here in the States. For one, the songwriting, the production, the guitar playing, the drum, the musicianship. And the thing is, when we throw the first Taste album up, you guys look like you're 14.
Yeah, I think it was 16.
In fact, you look quite young right now. So it's called good genetic code. But the thing is, we wanted you on here to turn your catalog on to people and just talk about it because people were really, I was just totally blown away by what I heard. And how could we not hear this? You know?
Well, we came real close.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah, if you want to know the story,
about it.
There's two parts to the story, isn't it, Ash?
Yes.
The first part is the Queen story, and the second part is the Sire Records story, which probably not many people know. But with Queen, our manager looked after them when they came to play the festival Sunbury here. That's when they kind of bombed. They didn't bomb as bad as everyone thinks, but they, as you know, they didn't go over quite as well as they would now, obviously. But he was the only one that believed in them. And he said, Brian May said to him, when we come back, we'll be the number 1 band in the world. Of course they were. So when they came back, Taste was on tour in Warrnambool, which is what, Ash, 10 hours of an hour. Yeah, so quite a way. Yeah, and so Chris said to me, we're going to go and see Queen in concert. And I said, we haven't got tickets. He said, it doesn't matter. So we get in the big van. We didn't even have a car. We had a truck. We get in the truck, 2 of us driving there. And he rang them. And those days you could ring and ask and get through. So he got through and he said, it's Chris. And they went berserk. I could hear them screaming over the phone. And they said, of course, you're coming to the concert. So we go to the concert and we had first row tickets. And Queen to me were like the Beatles. I love the Beatles and I love Queen. At that stage, that was it. And so then he said, well, now we're going to go and meet them. And I didn't want to. I said, no, I don't want to. You don't want to meet your heroes sometimes. So anyway, he dragged me back. And the first thing Freddie Mercury said to me in the dressing room was, can you believe it? There's no power for my fucking hairdryer. And I'm in shock because he was dressed better than I dress in the street in his, day clothes. Mm-hmm. So he said, of course, you're coming to dinner. So we went out to dinner, blah, blah, blah. And lots of things happened. But they invited us to tour America. A lot of people think we did, but we didn't because we just didn't have the money. We didn't have the money. But they always said, if ever you tour, you're welcome to tour with us. And they also played a track of ours, Boys Will Be Boys, before they went on, which was a big boost for us. But we didn't have anything to follow it up. So if you fast forward 2 years, Chris, the same manager, invites me over to his house. He said, I've got someone to meet. And it was Seymour Stein from Sire Records. like, you know, all these big acts, Madonna, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And he listened to the album that you like,
Mm-hmm.
both the albums actually listened to, and he said, "Where do we start? Let's go." So it was on, and then through a series of misfortune, the band, except me, decided they wanted to get a different manager, and I told them,
"Oh, there you go."
Yeah, I told them Chris is taking us to America, and they said, "Doesn't matter. Whoever we got managing will take us. You know, it doesn't matter." But it mattered a lot because Seymour Stein had made that relationship with Chris. So everything bombed out. And then we, as Ash knows, we broke up quite quickly after that. But for months, in all the American, mostly teen magazines, there were pictures of us saying Aussie band coming to America.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd broken up. So we missed it. We were real close.
So is that why the band broke up, is because of the managerial thing?
Yeah, the manager.
I mean, it just caused, it's kind of like the Beatles thing. Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah, exactly right. The manager had money, and so he, you know, started flying us everywhere, putting us in the best hotels and stuff. But he started separating us as people. And so he'd say to me, you know, "You don't need these guys, you're better than them." And then he'd say to the drummer, "You don't need these guys, you're better than these guys." And so, you know, by the end, we were all, you know, suspicious of each other. And then in the end, it just petered out because he couldn't do anything.
Man.
He didn't know what to do. He just didn't know. He just had money. And, you know, we didn't have any money, so that was very appealing.
You had the,
you know,
you had the talent, but no money. And yeah, that's a sad story.
Yeah.
But you, sir, you're guitar player, vocalist, keyboardist. You were the primary songwriter. You penned for the most part, all the band material. I mean, did you start out songwriting young? I mean, obvious, or was that something, well, we're in the band, someone's got to write? How did
my dad bought me a piano, and I used to play lots of songs on the piano and try and figure out things. And that's, I think, where it started. Mm. My love for the Beatles, of course, helps a lot. But in the band, someone had to write. And, you know, you kind of have that little, well, some people don't want to write for a start. So other people try to write, and that's not quite as good. And so they go, "All right, we'll let you do it. You know, we like what you're doing."
It's kind of like Pete Townsend. Kind of fell to Pete.
Well, the third band that I loved was The Who. Pete Townsend was my idol. When I heard Quadrophenia, I nearly fainted. I thought I was going to die because he understood exactly how I felt. So that first album is very angst-driven. Second album went a bit crazy with, you know, fantasy and, you know. But the first album was very personal. About, you know.
I'm on a damn tangent. Ashley, you can come in at any moment.
Yeah, Ash.
Yeah,
I'm just giving you shit. But no, before he pops in, though, I will say this since we're talking The Who. My favorite Who album is Sellout. I think Sellout is absolutely brilliant. That, I don't know if you've seen it or heard it, but have you heard I don't know, I guess it came out several years ago, maybe? The Sellout, Who Sellout box set with like 4 CDs. I know we're on a tangent. I got to talk about, but all those ads, they did all those ads that got rejected, you know, Coca-Cola, Jaguar. But man, all those Pete Townsend ads that he did, that's all great stuff. It's all great stuff. Even all that unreleased Who stuff, you know, stuff that came out later, like B-sides. Who B-sides were phenomenal.
That's a great album, that B-sides, Rarities. That's a great album.
Yeah, like Two's Missing, and there's like a British one that's like, what is it, like? But love all that stuff. Man, brilliant.
You know, everyone loved Tommy, and I didn't really, you know, it's good, but once Quadrophenia hit, that to me was...
That was your sweet spot.
Yeah. Yeah.
So would you say that who was influenced? So Beatles were a big influence on your songwriting. Pete Townsend, any other Small Faces? Did you like the Small Faces? Any other bands like that?
Really, I was very much, I love British music more than anything else, but I didn't get into the Faces. That was a little early for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Remember everybody on that album cover, they look like they're 14. I'm just saying.
We had to paint that sign on us. Yes. The Faces, that was different. That was great. I love that loosely tied.
That Steve Marriott, I think the Small Faces stuff, Steve Marriott, his songwriting,
Oh, he's a
The
great singer.
small faces were magic.
Yeah, he's
Especially
getting
that
a
immediate
lot of
stuff.
recognition now. I notice a lot of recognition.
I'm going to let Ashley yap because you and I are just going to yap, and
Yeah,
we're not going to talk guitars, Ashley. Go ahead, Ashley.
Oh, okay. Thanks for coming on, Ken. Very much appreciated, mate. Thank you so much. Now let's go back to the very beginning when you guys first started. Now, you guys were about 13, 14, and you guys were backing up John Farnham. And Sean, he was very much a household name in America, although later on he joined Little River Band. And
Well,
it's
Little
like
River Band
down on the
big.
corner, down on the border, I should say, and playing to win. He played on that when Glenn Shorrock left. But how did you go with? How did that all begin when you guys started out backing up John Farnham?
Well, when we first started, we were a covers band like everyone else, but we actually had a manager called Bill Joseph, fantastic guy, and he used to book all the big hotels, but they would have, a solo singer. You'd know who they were, but the other guys wouldn't. But so you had to read music, and luckily we all could read music. We were good music readers, so we started getting all that work. So we would play at the White Horse Hotel, and you'd do your brackets first, and then the star would come on, and then you'd back him, and then he'd go, and you'd finish off the night. So one night they had booked Johnny Farnham at the White Horse Hotel, and Bill said to us, "I've got you to back him," and we were pretty scared because he was a big star, like you said. So somehow, I don't know how this happened. One of the guys in the band went and got the charts for Farnham. Right, and no one else ever got those. He brought them. So we got them somehow, I don't know how. And so we all took them to our music teachers and said, we want to know these absolutely perfectly. So we learnt them for a couple of weeks. And then he came to our drummer's house for a rehearsal. And he walked in and he goes, "All right, boy, here are the charts, everything's out of season," whatever it was. And we, of course, we knew them without the music. So we started playing, and he's, "Wow, you guys are pretty good. All right, let's try this one." And he gave us another one. We played it because we knew it so well. Jeez. So we did about 5. And then he said, "Do you guys want to be in my backing band?" Because up until then, he would go to a pub, and whatever band was on, he would either have to rehearse with them or not. Mm-hmm. And then that would be it. So he would get some terrible bands, really terrible bands. So he took us under his wing, and we it was a stroke of luck because with him, we started touring Australia, and through him, his manager in particular, Daryl, introduced us to Chris, our manager. And so you see how little things, become big things. It was lucky,
Mm-hmm. You, guys a lot of luck. You guys were Cloud 9 then?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, how come? And you did one album too, was it? With Just Good Friends, So Rock On, which came out in 1974, was that correct?
Yeah, 74, 75.
Yeah, it's a bit of a collector's item now. I've never seen one in the wild, I must admit. Any chance that could get a digital release maybe some point?
No, never. I hate that album. It's terrible.
Well, there you go. There's your answer, Ashley. No.
Yeah.
It's not so much the music. It's the producer. There was a guy called Tweed Harris who was a country and western producer. And for some reason, they thought that would suit us. And at that stage, we had seven Marshall stacks, like 100 speakers boxes. We had a lot. We were loud. And he made us play through little Fender Twins, which are beautiful. But they're not exactly quantities. So it sounded horrible. The album. So when anyone asks me about it, I always say, no, don't buy it. The only good thing about that album is my dad, at my birthday party, when all my friends were there, he had a few drinks and he said, "We're all good friends, so rock on." And we went, "Hey, that's a good title for an album." So that's the only good thing about it.
Yeah, okay, cool.
I was reading something. Oh, go ahead.
How did you meet Joey, your mentor?
Well, Cloud 9 was 3-piece for a long time, in band terms, probably a year. And we'd been traveling all over Australia as a 3-piece, and it was fantastic. You got more money, you could have more space. So we weren't looking for a guitarist, but I went to a guitar repairer in Brunswick, and one of our roadies said, "I found your new guitarist." I said, "We're not looking, He goes, "Oh, no, listen to this guy." So he brought him in, and Joey's a good-looking boy. So straight away I go, "Oh, there's a tick." And then he played, and man, I'm telling you, he is easily one of the top 10 guitarists in the world. He just has never had that break. That's in my opinion, but we've recorded many times with him, and there's very few second takes. He's just melodic, and he's fast. He can play blues, he can play slow, he can play anything. So anyway, so he plays, and I go, wow, this guy's pretty incredible. So then I go, but can you sing? And he goes, oh, he starts singing like, oh my God. I rang up Michael from the guitar shop. I said, Michael, I think I found our guitarist. And he goes, we're not looking for a guitarist. I said, no, you're going to love this guy. He goes, put him on. So he put Joey on the phone, and he goes, tell me about yourself. And Joey goes, I'm very good looking. He goes, put the phone back to Ken. He goes, that's the guy. He didn't even ask me about playing or singing.
He'll do.
Yeah, luckily he could play and sing. So he was at school. He was like 15 years old. So he was at school on the Wednesday when he walked into that studio. He left school on the Thursday. He played with us at 2 pubs on the Friday and Saturday. And then the Monday and Tuesday following, we played Festival Hall with Sweet. So this is like his 4th gig. And then on the Friday, we set off on a 3-month tour of New South Wales.
So
I'm not even sure.
What year would this have been?
75.
75, I would say.
75? Okay.
Yeah. I'm not even sure he might be still enrolled at that school, because I don't think he ever left officially.
He just decided to stay.
Yeah.
What was, this is a bit of a tangent, but Sweet? How was that?
So, sweet. It was really weird because we were the support act. Obviously, we were given very little room. We were given, as far as I remember, no sound check. And I remember the reason why we didn't have any sound checks, we were waiting for them to finish their sound check, and they arrived late. And they arrived in a limo out the back. And they all came in, and we were sitting down on the stage, and the bass player patted me on the head like a little dog. Didn't even say hello. He just patted me on the head.
Oh, God. Steve Priest.
Yeah, that's right. What's his name?
Brian Conley was a singer. Yeah.
He was in the limousine shooting up.
Well,
So I don't know if you knew that, but even in 75, he was doing drugs.
well, that's when, isn't that about right, Ashley, when things started to fall
Yeah, it
apart?
goes sour.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
Shame
too
because
bad.
you guys, Taste did a lot. You did some Sweet covers, didn't you?
Say again, sorry?
You did a Taste did some Sweet covers though, didn't you? I've got a.
Oh, we
I have,
did. That's a very good reason.
I have this CD. I've got this CD here.
Can you remember the name? Oh, you've got that.
Yes.
Hold that up again. Let me see. Oh, Best of Taste. Okay.
Yeah, there was. They had a few live things on it, didn't it?
Yes.
Reckless.
Yes.
Reckless was the sweet one. Reckless. We also used to do Us of the Holy. Is it?
Zeppelin, yes.
I think that was the song we did. We did one Zeppelin and one Sweet. Yeah, they were good songs. Good bands too, huh?
Now, also, you guys had a very young Virgil Donati. Now, did you ever know how good he was back then? Today, he's just a household name when it comes to drummers. He's just...
Yeah. If you're a drummer, you know Virg, yeah.
Oh, did you ever get any idea of how good he actually was?
We had an idea because in Brunswick, he was well known as doing Italian cabaret shows, because he did this when he was 4 years old. He played Festival Hall when he was 4 years old with his dad. His dad was a piano accordionist. So often he would go out with them. So we knew of him, but almost in a daggy sort of way, because he was always playing these Italian, but I mean, he was way above their play grade. But then he started to get into jazz quite a bit. And so when we met him, I was a little bit dubious because of the jazz influence, but it didn't make any difference. And the funny thing is that even though we broke up and we hadn't played together for whatever it was, 30 years or something, we got together to play at the Corner as a one-off show, and it was sold out because everyone's waiting for the original Taste. But he only wanted to do 2 songs at the end. But we were using a guy called Damien Cognola, whose father is an excellent drummer, and so is Damien, really excellent. And he's just amazing, right, Damien? But when Virgil got up for those 2 songs, everything went... It's amazing the chemistry or the tightness that band had. And I think that answers a lot of questions why it was success. You know, it sounded good had some success. I think it was because of the quietness and chemistry.
There was something about, well, from what I've heard, I'm not a, from what I've heard of the catalog, you got, I'm just telling you, there was something magical about it.
Here's something, another thing, we just always seem to have that miss, So 2 years ago, I got a call from a song plugger in America. He said, "I love that first album." I don't know, he's heard it through Spotify probably. And he said, "And I place music on Netflix." And he goes, "And I've got some shows where they want Led Zeppelin." He goes, "But no one wants to pay $80,000 for a song. So with you, we might be able to get 10,000, And I'm going, "What? I'm happy to do whatever you want."
Well, a gig's a gig. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, exactly. So he said, "Do you own the songs or the recordings?" And I said, "Yeah, of course I do. It's been 40 years. Of course I own them." He goes, "But are you sure?" "Yeah, don't worry about it." I said, "I'm sure. Of course I'm sure. I know we own them. Who would want them?" Anyhow, so
well, it just seems like a weird question.
Well, because they don't want to put it on a TV show and then have, Universal come up and say, "Hey, we own the rights to that."
Well, I would think that they would have lawyers that would come in and make sure that everything is all above board. You know what I mean?
That's right. So what happened was he kept badgering me about it. I said, "All right, look, if you're that worried, I'll check it out. We'll get a lawyer." So we got a lawyer. He got in touch with Universal, who owned Polygram, which we recorded for. They said, "No, we don't own them. You own them," right?
Yeah.
So I'm going, this is fantastic, because this could, you look what happened to Kate Bush. This could be something, And then I get an email 2 weeks later saying, "Oh, we did a deep dive and we do own them." So I said, "Well, can we have them back?" And he goes, "No, we won't do that, but we'll give you a better royalty deal," which means nothing. And so I got in touch with the song plugger. And he goes, "I won't work with Universal." So I don't know why, but we lost the opportunity because Universal wouldn't release them.
Yeah,
that's what I think. Always get close.
And how long ago was this again?
About 3 years, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there's a reissue label here in the States that folded up. And the guy's been doing videos and stuff, but he was mentioning how one of the worst companies to deal with, at least like trying to reissue stuff. Here in the States, it's a mess. There's virtually hardly anybody here in the States that reissue anything because it's so hard to deal with. Evidently, the laws like in the UK are much more lenient. So if you go over there and look at Rock Candy, you go look at Cherry Red, you look at Bad Reputation out of France, man, in Europe, they are just reissuing things left and right. In the United States, nothing is going on. The laws are horrible. And what I understood is that Universal they just don't care.
They just don't give,
They don't give it. I don't think they make enough of Boffin. They don't care.
And they've never done a thing in those 3 years, like they said they would. So, it's not fair to people that happens. Occasionally you can buy them out, but the best thing to do, if anyone's got this problem, the best thing to do is to go to court, because there is an element that the judge will consider. It's called reasonable, I don't know the word, reasonable allowance, but if it's been 40 years and they've done nothing, then the judge usually will say, "Well, you don't deserve these songs. They could use them for themselves," so he will often let it go to the band. So it's always worth doing that. We didn't know that because it's a long story, but we didn't know.
Well, I was just going to say, I just got on Discogs and I was just looking at the Taste catalog because I have Tickle Your Fate. I have some of these. I'm waiting for a copy to come up, but there are none of them on Marketplace. It's been ever since Ashley, we've done that show. I've been trying to get these damn Taste CDs. I can't find any. They don't pop up. What's it? MR Records? Did you have anything to?
I know a guy. Send me your address. I know a guy.
Do you know a guy that has something?
I know a guy.
Did
you might be looking at it.
Okay, well, I will send you an address and I will give you money.
What size are your T-shirts? I got some great T-shirts here. Look at this.
So what? Let's see. I'll let him get his headphones. Let's see. Oh, wow.
I'll send you a couple. They're great. They're
All
great.
right.
I got to get them out of my studio. There's
Extra
too many.
large. If you got extra large, that'll work. But
have.
MR Records reissued these in Australia in 2020.
Yes.
Did you have anything to do with that?
What's the name of them?
It says it's MR Records. That's who reissued it.
No, I don't know about that.
Did it have any bonus tracks? What do you have, Ashley? What are you? What? Because you've got the CDs, right?
Particularly fancy.
Yeah.
I haven't got my copy of Nights of Love here because I've been playing it around the house and I've misplaced it. Naughty me.
Oh my gosh! Don't tell that in front of Ken.
Yeah, I know.
Don't tell the thing.
Melodic Rock Record.
Yeah, I've got from Rock is Dead when we came back. We own all those. We own that, and we own.
Okay.
I love this. I love this.
Fighting Gravity. Yeah, Fighting Gravity is.
Yeah, Fighting Gravity.
I know Melodic Rock
Yeah,
Records.
Fighting Gravity.
There we go. Yeah, that's the new one. Kind of
Okay.
mix. Yeah.
Well, we need to talk about that too. But Melodic Rock Records in Australia.
Melodic Records, you should be able to get.
Knights of
Those
Love.
albums.
They reissued that, right?
Yeah, they did. But again, don't tell Universal.
Life on Earth.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Oh, no, that's Life on Earth. Actually, I forgot about them. Yeah. It's three, isn't it? Yeah.
While I've got you here, Ken, also, you guys put this one out. This is called Rock is God. Now, this was a European, to open up for the European market, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right. That's a collection of all the albums. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
How well did that go?
Well, according to Melodic Records, it did quite well, and that's why they made it, because there was quite a demand for. Someone had asked, "Why don't you put a compilation of all the tracks?" And they did that by themselves. They didn't have anything to do with it, but yeah, I mean, things do as well as things do these days.
There's also
5,000 people an album, we'd be happy. You know what I mean? It's not like it used to be.
there is a comp called the Best of Taste on Gossip Music that came out in Australia in 2015.
Yeah, Gossip. Yeah, that was the label that actually did from Rock. They did Rock is Dead and Life on Earth.
Okay.
And then the last one we did on our own. Yeah.
That's hard to find, actually.
Is it? Well, I have
Yes.
it, and nothing's ever appeared. I can't find it. I can't find anything here in the States.
I'll send them to you.
Well,
Okay.
I can give you some.
Okay, Ken, when Taste split, you formed a band called Texas, who were a bit of a change in style for you guys. You went into more the boogie rock type of sound, and you did it.
I didn't form them. They were already formed. They were just four of my friends who actually supported Taste a lot, and they were really good guys. And they asked me to join, and I thought, wow, what do I want to do? And I love playing guitar, and I'd never really, when you got Joey, you don't play much, you play rhythm, but you don't play much lead. They wanted me to play lead. So their manager said to me, would you rather be Rod Stewart or Keith Richards? So I thought, yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Do I want to go solo or join another band? So I joined Texas, and they were an incredible band, but I wouldn't say they were commercial friendly, but they could rock hard. We did rock hard, and we did very well live-wise. We used to pull big crowds, but I didn't really think that it was ever going to transfer the record because, apart from ZZ Top, who else is really doing that sort of thing?
That's right. Yeah, and it was a live album you released too, wasn't it? You never did a studio album, but a live album.
Yeah, there was a recorded album to some extent. Things that happen. You got to try and figure out why they, when's the right timing, and then, the band breaks up again, and then what are you going to do? And so it was unfortunate. I thought that band could have done. I think in America that band would have killed, because in America you have to tour, and if you tour really hard, you can make it. In Australia, of course, touring is incredibly important, and that's how you learn how to be in a band in Australia. It's tough, isn't it? But that countdown mentality of everything has to be pretty and melodic suited Taste very well, but not so much Texas, unfortunately. But I had a great time with them.
Yeah. I was looking at the album cover. You almost kind of look like, kind of remind me of Johnny Marr. You just look like Johnny Marr to me.
Yeah, I'll take that. Johnny Marr's great. I love him.
Oh, to go on a tangent, I saw Johnny Marr, because he'll tour, and I took my son there. And my son's a big, his favorite band's the Smiths.
Wow.
And we saw, I know, and we saw Johnny twice, and he's just playing small places. We saw him up in Cleveland at the Grok Shop, very intimate. We could get right up front. But and being a musician, just the way Johnny Marr approaches guitar playing, all open chords.
Yeah.
Just to listen to him play, it's just so. I love Johnny Marr.
You can always tell when he's on something. He's so good.
He's so good. And you listen to that Smith stuff, from a guitar playing standpoint, no one was playing anything quite like he was playing guitar.
Yeah, that's true.
It wasn't like they had a lot of solos or anything, but man, just his approach.
Yeah.
The way he used the chords.
I think anyone that can make that band sound good is doing a good job.
Yep.
Because I'm not a great fan of Morrissey, but him in that band makes it worthwhile.
It was the combination of again, like you guys, that original combination.
Yeah, that's right.
Morrissey and Johnny Marr together,
That's
that
true.
songwriting team, there was something about it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, Morrissey's kind of an asshole. Let's just be honest. That's I don't know if he'll ever play a gig again. I just saw something the other day that he's canceling more gigs.
Really? Well, maybe the sun wasn't setting in the right direction or something. I know he's very
particular. Anyway,
Throughout
the
the
tangent for you.
Throughout the 1980s, though, Ken, you went on a bit of a solo thing, didn't you? Where you played a lot of piano bars and club bars throughout the 80s, and you really enjoyed that, though, didn't you?
Well, the funny thing about Taste is that everyone has survived musically. Mm-hmm. Michael owns 2 jazz clubs in Melbourne. Joey, he's a gun for hire. He'll play, forever. He's such a great guitarist. Virgil obviously has done very well. So I was playing guitar because this is what musicians have to do. When your band break up, you don't sit at home and wait for the phone to call. So, I'm playing acoustic guitar in a little bar on a Tuesday night, and a guy said to me, "We don't want you in 2 weeks because we're getting a piano in for the piano bar. There's a new thing called piano bar." Mm-hmm. And I said, "Oh, I play piano." Believe me, I didn't play piano well enough to do piano bars, but because I'm kind of an entertainer, what I did, I went and bought, there used to be this little compilation, Buster books. So I bought 10 of them. And the first night that I started, I just put them on the pianos and said, "If you pick a song and I know it, give me the book and I'll play it and we'll oversing." And I think they kind of everyone else was doing Sinatra and stuff like that. And I was kind of like the drunken brother-in-law that comes to your party and there's a piano. "Oh, I can play piano.
I can play. What do you want me to play? I can play it all."
Exactly. As long as there's a book in front of me. And it went through the roof. I started doing it 6 nights a week. And there was 3 in Melbourne that, were the piano guys. And I was one of them. But I was really doing what I said. It was just me having fun. And, I entertained well. So that was a big factor because everyone else was so serious. I thought, I don't go to a piano bar and want to hear serious music. I want to sing, And so I just did what I thought they'd like, and it really worked. And then we moved into corporate piano world, and that was very lucrative. Yeah,
I was going to say that'd be where you want to move to.
Half an hour of Billy Joel songs, and you get what a band would get, and then you could go home. And then we moved into dueling piano bars with Marty Fields, as you would know, as the top comedian here, and we did that for quite a number of years. And I'm still playing now. I've been trying to stop, but there is a lot of work. I'm getting tired, but
well,
didn't knock it back, so why not?
You should feel good that there's work.
What else am I going to do?
So was it hard for you to transition because you were in bands all of the 70s and to go to be like, so to speak, a solo artist and not be part of a band and be up front? I mean, was it a transition for you or what?
Yeah, it was. I actually, Ash would know, but we had a band called Primal Tears in the 90s, I guess, or maybe late 80s. Anyhow, and they were going very well. We were getting like 600-700 people at a gig, and record companies were snooping around. Michael Gudinski, who most people would know, was going to sign us to Mushroom, and on this particular night that he was supposed to come, he didn't show up. And it really upset me. I thought, I can't be treated like this anymore. So I broke up the band. They didn't know about this. I broke it up. And he rang me and said, what are you doing? And I said, I'm not going to be treated like this anymore. And he said to me, you'll never work in this business again. And I said, good. I'm not going to work in it anymore. See you later. So I went and worked in a music shop.
Oh, my God. You were pissed.
Yeah, I couldn't care less about him. I couldn't care less about the business because it was so, frustrating at times.
Mm-hmm.
And then, a guy rang and said, do you want to do a couple of acoustic sets? I thought, well, what's that going to do? That's nothing. So I'll do that. Yeah, that's a bit of fun. But then that piano bar thing came. So, it wasn't too bad because I wasn't planning on a career. I was just planning on doing a couple of gigs, once a week or something would be fine. But then, like I said, it went to 6. So probably, again, lucky that,
Yeah, well, better than the alternative.
But, yeah, that's right. Musicians have to play. I always think of Sting, again, I love Sting. But I love when they say to him, you're so rich. Why do you play? And he said, I'm a musician. That's what musicians do. We have to play. He's absolutely right. It's frustrating to be sitting at home.
Don't want to sit back and do nothing.
Yeah.
Well, all through the 80s, I was in a band. I played through college and all that, and then the band broke up in 89. I haven't played out since. So I can feel what you're feeling, because when it did stop in 89, I was like, gee, many Christmas. Ugh, this is kind of a drag, because we were playing every weekend, and, it was fun.
You don't go out on weekends anymore. It's a different life completely. So when you change, you go, wow, there's actually another life.
Yeah. It was fun.
Yeah.
I graduated college, and then I graduated to college, got a job, life took over. It was fun. But hey, man, during college, though, playing those weekend gigs, because I worked in a guitar store and I played in a band during the weekends. It was the 1980s, Ken, were so good. Because the best job I ever had was working in that damn guitar store selling guitars. God, that was fun.
In the 80s, that's when everything really took a change. Like from a keyboard point of view, everything changed. Keyboards went crazy. So every week there was a new keyboard. It was very exciting,
Yeah.
And they were all at your fingertips. It was great. Yeah,
I could have done without the Yamaha DX7 though, but there's a lot of great stuff.
The day when the DX7 came out, we went to Yamaha and they put on a spread of food and drink. Like, this was very unusual, in those days. I remember when the Prophet 5 came out. And I got one and I couldn't believe how good it was. And I called up a jazz friend of mine. I said, you got to come over and hear the trumpet sound. I played him the trumpet sound. He goes, that ain't no trumpet sound, buddy. It kind of was for us.
Ken, check your ears. That's no trumpet sound.
Exactly right, yeah.
That was fun, though, because technology. I got to go to NAMM shows in Chicago and see all the new gear. And, it was fun. It was good. I like that era. I kind of miss it,
Yeah, it wasn't good.
It was good. All right.
In 1999, Ken, you released your debut solo album called Manchild.
Oh, wow. You've done your research. Yes, I did.
Oh.
It's my son on the cover.
Wow. How did this all come out?
Just again, boredom. I think, I had songs that I thought, what am I doing with them? A friend of mine had a really good studio up in Wood End that he basically built just for himself. He didn't open it to the public. And he wanted me to play keyboards on his album. So I said, well, look, I'll play on your album if you give me an album in exchange, if I can go up and spend as much time as I like. And he did. And that's what we did with that. It was great. That was a really good, fun time doing that album. There's a Mike Rudd song on there too.
Yes.
And that song is also on the latest Taste album because I loved it so much. It was also the song that we played when my baby was born, my son. So it's got a lot of connection to me, Mike Rudd. If Mike Rudd had gone to America, he would have been, one of the biggest and respected most respected musicians in the world because he's such a genius, but in this country he's wasted. I've told him many times, and I think that, yeah.
Wow.
You should play them, and Ariel.
Yes, but yeah, they've been re-released through Aztec Music, both of those bands. So, and Grant, they were on. Pete Pardo's got them.
Oh, he does?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, he's got them.
Yes,
He just recently got them.
All right. I have to check it out.
Yeah.
I will check it out. What did Pete? So Pete liked it, huh?
No, he's just recently got them. He also got another Australian band, Carver Stewart, as well. That was on the Aztec label as well. He put them on his show, yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right.
You know,
I'll have to check it out.
in those days, especially in the early 70s, there really wasn't many places for a young person to see a band. There were dances in halls, but, you know, at that time there was a lot of skinheads on the street. It wasn't always safe to go to a dance. But there was one venue called Hard Rock Cafe, which is nothing to do with the new ones. And you couldn't get alcohol in there, so you could go there and see bands. And I went and saw a band one day, and they had this, the singer was in satin. I can't remember if the bass player was dressed up like that too, but the guitarist was dressed as Zorro. And he played like a monster. And he came off stage and I lifted him up and said, "You are incredible." And oh, thanks. He went away. But that's AC/DC. This is before Bon Scott.
Oh, this is okay.
Yeah. So we became fairly friends. No, I wouldn't say best friends, but we were friends. So when Countdown, the music show, started, we were on Countdown a lot with AC/DC, and so we've become kind of friends. And one night, Bon was walking down the corridor, and he was smiling a lot. And I said, "Bon, why are you so happy?" And he goes, "New teeth." He just got some new teeth. But yeah, we did a lot of gigs with AC/DC. We kidnapped Malcolm. When we were in Cloud9, we wanted a guitarist. And so I said, "Well, that guy in AC/DC, the ribbon player, he's pretty good." So we went to their house and kidnapped him. We got a girl to bring him out to the car. And then I said, "Get in the car and we'll take you and play billiards." And he goes, "Oh, okay." Their house was a shithole. No wonder he wanted to get out of it. I took him to my mum and dad's house, who had a pool table. And my mum and dad made him toasted cheese sandwiches. He probably hadn't eaten for a couple of weeks. So he thought it was heaven. But luckily, he said, "Look, I'm not going to join your band because I got to stick with my brother." But could you imagine if he would have hated me for the rest of his life?
Yeah. What year was that? What year was that? Probably.
That would have been 74, I reckon, because they were just starting and looking for a guitarist. I reckon 74, 75.
Oh my God, that's priceless.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we did 74. I still think
you should play back in the day. When you guys were on the road, there were so many Australian bands that toured out there that released albums, but none of them have seemed to been digitalised out there at all. And I mean, I'm talking about a band like Hush. Now, I could have Hush on the Warehouse, and I'm sure there'd be a lot of people out there that would like them a lot.
I'm going to look them up right now.
None of their catalogue has even been looked at or even been thought of being digitalised. And to me, it's an absolute shame. Another band that comes to mind is a band like Super Cool as well.
Exactly what Grant was saying. The big companies have no interest in it, and the small companies that want to do it can't because the big companies won't let them.
Yeah.
You know, it's that vicious circle. I mean, TMG, Ted was a very good friend of mine. He used to come to my house, and my mum would cook him dinner and stuff. And we had his 21st birthday at my house. Maybe not 21st, but anyhow. But, you know, the same deal, you know. I mean, a Dragon released digitally.
Yes, even the first two have, yes.
Yeah, the Touch catalog, I'm looking it up. None of the albums, I mean, they were signed to Warner Brothers in 73, put out, then they were on Wizard in 74. Yeah. Wizard for the rest of the catalog. But according to Discogs, there's been a couple of comps that came out. There was a Wizard comp in 1976, and there was a CD comp called The Best of Hush that came out on Castle in 1990. I think the actual CD, 1995. And then there was like a reissue in 2000, but there's not been any.
No.
As far as their Hush catalog, no activity.
No.
Yeah, well, you know, that heritage thing, it goes unnoticed in this country, and it's stupid. It's really stupid. I talk to guys that own heritage labels, and they say the same thing. They get blocked all the time by these companies. Michael Gudinski was another one that blocked this particular heritage company. You know, like when we recorded Rock Is Dead, we went into Sing Studio, which here was, you know, a big studio, and it cost probably $40,000 to do that album. But we wanted to do it right. And when we went to every label, they all said, you know, we don't sign bands of your era. We're looking for solo young guys, you know, and stuff like that. And I said, look, that's fair, but, you know, the album's good and we've got a following. And they said, no. And they said, you know, try heritage label. So we got in touch with whatever Mushrooms Heritage label was, and they wouldn't help us either. It was so hard. The whole thing was so hard. That's why we don't really tour anymore. It's too hard.
It shouldn't be that way.
No. But, you know, if you read enough rock books, and I'm sure you both do that, you see the pattern. The recording companies are always the last to know that the band is going to be successful. You know, I remember with Primal Tears, we were getting like 700, 800, 600, 700 people to the gigs. And I went to a recording company and said, you know, we're doing all this business. Are you interested? And he said, let me hear the music. So I gave him a demo and he goes, we're looking for another Faith No More. And I said, but there is a Faith No More. You don't need another Faith No More.
Wow.
You need something new. But that's how they used to think. And I'm sure
think about it in the 60s. Once the Beatles took,
Yeah.
everybody tried to get their own Beatles.
Yeah.
You know, the British invasion went crazy. They were signing people left and right. 1979, the Knack took off. Power pop. All these labels were signing power pop bands, you know?
Yeah.
2021,
Well,
21 got signed.
I believe Men at Work made it because of the Police. Because you could almost close your eyes and say, that's Sting singing instead of Colin Hay. And it was just, you know, the kind of reggae too. So I reckon that's why they got on radio, because they already said, oh, we've got this, and this is another great version of it, you know. And of course, Men at Work are incredible. I'm not taking anything away from
Well,
Colin Hay.
Men at Work.
Colin Hay came up to me one night and said, I really like your voice, because I used to have a pretty high voice. I really like your voice. We should write songs together. This is before they were big. And I said, I don't write songs with other people. Cocky little bastard I was.
God darn, you were cocky.
I'd be a millionaire now.
Well, I remember when I first heard Men at Work, it was Who Can It Be Now? And I heard it and I went, wow. I don't know. It might have been at the right place at the right time. But the production was good. The songs were good, catchy. And it was new wavy enough. It was a new wave enough.
Yeah.
You know, it was hip enough. It was good.
That voice was very radio friendly already because of the Police.
But Colin Hay has a great voice. I saw Colin Hay on the 80s cruise last March. He had a band. I think it was Wife was up there singing with him. But as a singer, well, he's a good musician, and he did an interview, you know, on stage with one of the MTV VJs back. And his voice still is great.
Yeah.
The band was really good. He's just a talent. All his stories. He had tons of stories. People loved it, you know? Yeah. But that was another shame, because that was a good band. And for it to fall apart.
It's like you said, the chemistry, you know? Take apart the chemistry.
I think that was another point where the management, you know, Ken, I'm not
He holds the record in Australia of the biggest crowd ever at a particular club and the smallest crowd ever. He had like 2 people, and the other time he had like 800 people. So he holds both records.
I can't remember, but he might have had I hope I'm telling this correctly, but I believe he had a similar story where it was a management thing, and management was telling people different things.
Yeah, possibly.
And then it was down to just him and what was Greg.
Yeah.
The band ended up just him and Greg, and then they put that album 3 of Hearts out, and it didn't sound anything like Men at Work. I went and heard that. I went, what the hell?
I know. And in those days, you bought records, didn't you? You didn't go, oh, I'll listen to it on Spotify and see if it's any good. In those days, you bought them and went, that was $10 or $5. Not wasted.
Yeah, I don't remember him playing really anything of that album live. I don't know. I think he might have played a couple of tracks, but that's a tough listen. No offense.
What about buying albums of people you didn't know because of the cover?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Wow. That was great. I remember I bought the Yes album. I didn't know what it was like. I just liked the cover. And that's what got me into Yes. That would happen quite often. If you saw a really good album cover, I'll give it a shot.
Mm-hmm. I remember when...
That's like with Taste. I first discovered you guys, Ken. I went out to a pub one night, saw a band there and got a bit legless and a bit out of it, like you do back in the day. And I went home with a girl, and I remember going through her mum and dad's record collection, and naturally enough, wow, Nights of Love. Blokes with saws toasting marshmallows on the fire. Wow, this looks an interesting cover, and that's how I discovered this.
Wow.
I apologize.
My goodness.
I think it's been voted one of the 10 worst album covers of all time.
It made an impression in the chat.
Yeah. Yes, that's right. He got it because of that.
So what about, I don't know, I might be jumping ahead, but I don't want to take up too much of your time. What about, how did Taste get back together? What brought you guys back together? Because you've reunited several times.
Yeah, actually, that's a good story. We were approached by a guy who was doing a nostalgia tour, but a big one. This was at Calder Park Raceway. So, it's going to be huge. And he said it was going to have, I think I'm right, Santana, Alice Cooper, they were still quite big then. Well, I suppose they are now too, but much bigger then. A couple of other bands, but he loved that. He loved Taste. He was a Taste fan. So he said, would you get back together? And I remember Michael, who was a stockbroker at that stage, he said, yeah, we will, but we want $5,000 and we want $1,500 for rehearsing. So the guy goes, well, I can't give you that money now. He goes, no, just give us the $15 for rehearsing. So I said, all right. So he gave us the money. We got together. Virgil flew over from the States and we rehearsed. We did a really good rehearsal. It was really good fun. And then the concert got blown out. Again, I don't like to keep bringing his name up, but Michael Gudinski heard about it and said, let's put a concert on that will go against it. And so the guy, I think he might have also said to Santana, you can't do it. You've only toured through me. So the concert got cancelled, but we kept the $1,500. So the best paid rehearsal I've ever had. And then Michael said to me while we were there, is there any new songs you've written? And I said, yeah, I've got a few. And that was some of the Rock is Dead songs. And then Virgil went back to the States. So then we found another drummer. And then that's when Michael said, why don't we do this in a proper studio? So that's what we did. Yeah. And then we started touring a bit because you have to promote the album. We made, that did all right, that album. But, again, not like it used to in the old days, but it still sold pretty well. Mm-hmm. And then we waited 7 years to do the next one. And then we waited 7 years to do the next one. It seems to be a 7-year thing with us. So the next one will be
7 years.
I think we missed it.
Oh, wow.
I'm working on it. But yeah,
So you guys were able to come around, even though the management issue that you had, you were able to get through it and work through it, and everything was cool. And because you produced more material.
Basically, I just said, well, I told you so, and let's forget it and move on. There wasn't much.
What can you do?
We could do about it. Yeah. And Joey, Michael, and I basically lived fairly close to each other, so we were still all very good friends. Virgil was overseas, but he came over. But the three of us have always had that connection. So, it was always that nucleus, always. Yeah. But, it's a nice story because we're still friends and occasionally play together, and record.
Excellent. It's good.
Awesome. Ash, you got anything else?
Taste still planning to record a new album at some point there, Ken? And what's the chances of Virgil being on one?
There you go.
Virgil is in Italy now. and he's got his own solo thing, and that's all he wants to do. We talked to him about it, but he's not really, well, he's not a rock guy anymore, number one. But for him, he wants to do his solo stuff. That's all he wants to do. The other three of us are always open. And, whenever we write new songs, we always send them to each other. And if you end up getting enough and everyone has got the time, we'll do it. We usually record in this studio here, not always, but usually. And then we outsource the drums. We go to a big studio for the drums. Mm-hmm. But everything else is usually done here. It's easily done these days,
Kind of like XTC. You don't really have a drummer. You just...
That's right. XTC. I just watched This Is Pop on YouTube the other night.
Documentary? Phenomenal.
How good is that documentary? And how good is XTC?
One of my top 10 favorite bands of all time.
Do you know the album Non-Such? Non-Such?
Yeah, 92.
That's a classic album. That's as good as Pet Sounds. It's one of the best albums ever released. I could never understand why it wasn't a big hit.
See, the one I think is their masterpiece. Now, I want your thoughts on this, Ken, because I believe you know what you're talking about. You've heard Apple Venus, right?
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely brilliant. The strings, the orchestration. Yeah, you don't have as much as Dave Gregory because he left during it, but Andy Partridge's songwriting on that record and just the lushness, the way that record sounds, recording it at Abbey Road. I'm glad that they split up the two records because I think Apple Venus as an artistic statement, great, beautiful record.
Yeah. Well, I love that album too. I love them all. I've been going back and listening to them again since I saw the documentary.
Yeah.
Which, is quite old, isn't it now?
Yeah. What, maybe 10 years? Maybe?
Yeah, but you can get it on YouTube. I'm starting to love YouTube because you're finding all these great documentaries that you can't get anywhere.
Yeah.
Isn't it? It's true, isn't it?
Yeah. So did you like it? I know we're on a tangent. I can't help myself. Ken, were you a fan of XTC back in the 70s?
Yeah. I used to go to
70s, I guess.
I'm the only person I reckon that would go to a nightclub and, he'd be playing Staying Alive or something, and I'd go to the DJ, please play some XTC.
Yeah.
Occasionally they would play Making Change for Nigel, but not always.
Drums and Wires, great record. Black Seas, one of my favorite records.
Yeah. It's incredible the way he wrote. Why can't I think of it? And Generals, what are the song I'm thinking about?
Generals and Majors.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he shows you how he wrote it. It's incredible. He wanted it to be commercial, so he put in 1, 2, 3, 4, and he said, that's a bit common. So I'll go, no, it was 5, 4, 3, 2. Yeah, he did that first. And then he said, no, I'll do it the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4. No. That's a census running overtime, actually. But yeah, but it shows how he shows you how he wrote it. It was incredible.
Yeah, brilliant.
That documentary.
Brilliant song.
I love that band.
Yep, love it.
So is there any new music that you guys listen to?
I like The Darkness when they put out a new record.
Oh, yeah, Darkness are good.
Darkness are good.
Ash, do you like it?
Yes, I'm trying to think of something I've been playing recently. There's a band in Melbourne recently too, Velvet Revolver.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
Yeah.
Velvet Revolver, like
they're
we're talking.
They're an all-female pop punk band.
Yeah.
Is that like on Spotify?
Yes.
Yeah. Good.
They're also on Bandcamp too.
Okay. Great. All right.
Well, Ken, is there anything you want to plug while we've got you?
No, I don't have anything to plug, unfortunately. I'd love to have something to sell, but I don't these days. Not really. Look, there's a website if you want to. If people like Taste, taste-music.com. Taste-music.com, and that's got all the videos on it. Supposedly where you can buy the albums. Apparently you can't. T-shirts.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, certainly go to the website and have a look at the videos at least. And give me your addresses, boys. I'll send you out a taste pack.
Perfect. Awesome. If you need money for shipping, just let me know how much you need. Or whatever you need, just let me know.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you guys. No, I don't need anything. Thanks, guys. It's been a pleasure, a real pleasure.
Ladies and
Thank
gentlemen,
you,
Ken
Ken.
Murdoch,
Thank you so much.
Taste. Go check out some Taste wherever you can.
Thank you.
All right, Ken, I'll be in touch. Thank you for doing this.
Pleasure.
Thank you, Ken.